Hello, I'm Sallysue Stein, the board president as well as the acting executive director here at Gold Country Wildlife Rescue. I'm also the founder, but we wouldn't be where we are today without hundreds, maybe thousands of people who had the passion and took the time to get involved. Thanks to the hard work of Gold Country Wildlife Rescue's amazing staff, volunteers, and donors, we have completed our 31st baby season. We couldn't have helped almost 5,000 animals this year without every one of you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this report of where we've been and where we plan to go. This is our dedicated board of directors. We will be adding a new member in January. Dan Crum is retiring from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service at the end of this year and is ready to help GCWR continue to thrive. Here you see our permanent paid staff. A highlight I'd like to point out is the hiring of our first part-time veterinarian. Dr. Youngblood volunteered and worked for us during her undergraduate education, and we are delighted to have her back, sporting her Doctor of Veterinary Medicine degree. During the busy baby season, we hire up to 12 more seasonal animal care technicians. Staffing a facility that is open 365 days a year is quite a challenge. As an example, the front intake desk needs to be staffed 7 days, 8 hours per day, which means 56 hours per week. All of the animal care positions must be staffed 7 days a week, 8 to 12 hours per day, depending on the season. We are always evaluating our staffing model and improving it to better fit our needs. We will have a night shift during baby season when we are financially able. These graphs, daily intakes and daily census, illustrate why we hire lots of seasonal animal care technicians. You can see an unusual bump in the September timeframe. That is when we reached out to help our neighboring rehab group in Sacramento County, Wildlife Care Association. While they undergo major changes and renovations, their animals are being brought up to us for their care. That situation continues as of the making of this presentation. Here you can see our growth since 2014. As of November 5th, 2022, our total number of intakes was 4,573 patients. The second graph displays the intake by species. As usual, songbirds are always our largest category. Please note that while mammals are smaller in number, they are in care for a much longer period of time, are much more labor-intensive, and therefore more costly than are the songbirds. The big takeaway from this slide? Only 51% of our patients are coming from Placer County. We are one of only 2 rehab groups in the region with an intake center open year-round. Because of that, we clearly have grown into a regional center. While this is something to be proud of, it also brings with it added responsibility to an increasing number of patients. The challenge is making sure our revenue increases so we can continue to provide the best possible care to more animals. We received our permit for black bear cubs last year, and this year was the first year for us to release cubs that we had raised from start to finish. I won't lie, they were a lot of work. Hats off to our team who cleaned and fed and repaired what those rascals tried to take apart. Let's enjoy watching why we do this, their releases to the wild. This last year, we have effectively managed 3 sites: our Wildlife Intake Center, WIC for short, our Mount Vernon property, and our remote release site. The WIC is where our intakes, triage, and critical care happens. The Mount Vernon property is where animals graduate to outdoor rehab enclosures. We currently have 13 enclosures in use. The remote site, where there are 3 enclosures, is where some of our animals are slowly reintroduced to the wild. All of this work is accomplished by our skilled and dedicated paid animal care staff. Imagine how much work it takes to care for almost 5,000 animals in 1 year. Food prep, ICU feeding, cleaning, medications, general care, record keeping, etc. With the animals requiring so much care and support, we also depend on our wonderful volunteers and interns to make this work possible. Beyond animal care, we need a strong administrative team to keep the organization running and growing smoothly. This group works behind the scenes to keep the lights on, keep our community informed, and ensure our future success. The Oiled Wildlife Care Network, also known as OWCN, was established in 1994 in response to the Exxon Valdez spill in Alaska and the American Trader spill in Huntington Beach. Today, the OWCN comprises more than 40 member organizations throughout the state, including world-class aquaria, universities, scientific organizations, and rehabilitation groups. As of 2014, OWCN's response range expanded from the marine area to statewide, including all California state surface waters. We are proud to announce that in 2022, we became a member organization of the OWCN. The Mount Vernon property is a beehive of activity. We have built 13 enclosures that are in use year-round. We are waiting for building permit approval to build out our campus. We are continuing to build out animal care facilities around the property as funds allow. These include hospital wards, flight cages, and mammal, avian, and waterfowl enclosures. Also, our largest mammal enclosure, formerly known as Bear Cub University, is moving along with dens and doors to be installed in the near future. Key to our continued success is making sure that the communities we serve know about us. We accomplish this reach with our strong digital media presence, which includes our education and outreach program and our online store. Additionally, we get a lot of coverage via television, mostly triggered by our digital media. For example, TV stations often use our social media posts as a news story, or they contact us to come to our Wildlife Intake Center to do a story based on what they saw on our social media. This reach is not limited to the United States. In 2021, when we had the burned bears and all the wildfires were so bad, we were contacted by the BBC and invited to be part of an ongoing documentary. It will run over several years. What does all of this digital reach do for us? It helps us raise the funds we need to keep our doors open. Over half of our revenue is generated by our digital and email fundraisers. It brings us new donors and new volunteers. We're excited to share that we have matching funds for our 2 final fundraisers of 2022, $60,000 for Giving Tuesday on November 29th and $25,000 for our end-of-year mailer. On Giving Tuesday, please keep an eye on our social media channels for what's sure to be 24 hours of fun. The lifeblood of our organization is the support we receive from donors and grantors. Most of our grants are funded at the end of the year, so the numbers you see here are still climbing. Additionally, our 2 end-of-year fundraisers are expected to add significantly to the donation numbers you see here. We'd like to give a shout out to our in-kind donors. Without them, we would have had to raise almost $200,000 in additional funds just this year. We are grateful to the 1,300 plus donors that generously support us to make this work possible. This includes our monthly donors and annual corporate partners that provide a steady stream of reliable financial support. Last but not least, welcome to our 258 new donors this year. To better manage our donor information, we are currently transitioning to new database software. This new program offers a convenient way for donors to manage their personal information and additional management tools for our team. We are delighted that we can do all of this at a lower annual cost than we pay for our current donor software. We developed our corporate partnership program to join with businesses in our community that wish to support our essential work throughout the year. In return, GCWR recognizes these businesses for their generous support through our print, email, and social media outreach. Our corporate partnership program offers 3 levels of support, allowing GCWR to partner with and recognize businesses of all sizes as part of our shared commitment to help wildlife. Our budget for 2022 is roughly $1.5 million. I'd like to give a shout out to all of our staff for working hard to stay within our budget. On this slide, you can see our budget numbers in the top charts versus where we expect to be at the end of the year in the bottom charts. Of note, our public support really came through this year, exceeding our expectations by 10%. While our animal care expenses increased slightly, our operations decreased by almost the same amount. Notice the money bag icons on the expense charts located between the operations and fundraising labels. These categories include administration, marketing, management, rent, utilities, insurance, equipment, etc. Those money bags are there to help emphasize that these functions are critical for the financial and operational success of the organization. Traditionally, nonprofit organizations have been evaluated by their ability to operate with as little funding as possible for operations and fundraising. In fact, to grow our animal care capacity, we must continue to grow our operations capacity. One cannot succeed without the other. For example, supporters often ask us not to use their funds for salary or overhead, when in reality, those things are critical to us being able to provide our program, which is wildlife rehabilitation services. What's next for us? We must continue what we're doing and build upon it. High on the priority list is the campus build-out at the Mount Vernon property so that we can move from our current wildlife intake center. We need to move the tasks that are currently being done by volunteer board members to paid staff, meaning we need to grow our capacity, grow our management team. We will continue to improve and grow our internship program so that students not only have the opportunity to learn about wildlife rehabilitation, but also how to run a nonprofit organization. I'm so proud of how far we've come and so thankful for all the people, staff, volunteers, and donors who make our work possible. I'm confident that we can continue to work together to make GCWR even better and stronger, to help more wildlife, to make our world a better place. I hope you'll enjoy watching this impact video. We'll see you next year. You can count on it.